From 1978 until 1981, Southern Columbia's football program lost 27 consecutive games. There was talk of disbanding the program. Any kind of championship was a dream. Fast forward 38 years. The Tigers are on the verge of winning their 10th state title. They haven't lost a regular season game since 2011, and the senior class is one win away from finishing their careers 63-1. After making the last 3 state finals and carrying a talent-laden senior class, expectations for this season were about as high as they get.
The expectations were very high coming into this season. It would mean a lot for especially the senior class to finish that way.
Expectations are always high at Southern Columbia. Winning league titles isn't good enough. Winning District 4 titles isn't good enough. It's state title or disappointment at Southern Columbia.
Southern tradition has always been, state championship, state championship, state championship. So, coming up and being on such a great team, especially for my senior year with, surrounded by success within my teammates, it's definitely something I couldn't even have thought of back then.
I thought we had the athletes that could be good and maybe win one, we get lucky or something like that, but not like this.
And when I was in high school there, what Coach Roth reflected to us, and just the overall community atmosphere, the team vibe, it was expected. Anything else other than the state championship was a failed season.
This is what I strived for. And I know a lot of my other teammates too, this is what we wanted. We worked hard in the weight room, even at practice, this is, nothing's really given to us. We just have the drive for it.
Yeah, this is everything and more that I wish that our team could have been, I think. I'm so glad to be a part of it.
If Southern's football team was a train, head coach Jim Roth would surely be the engine that drives it. Since taking over the program in 1984, just a handful of seasons after that losing streak, he has amassed a record of 442 wins, 64 losses, 2 ties, and has guided his teams to 17 state final appearances. He expects and demands greatness from his program, the players, and the coaches. Southern Columbia always has talent, but Roth and his veteran coaching staff have a way of molding the players at this small rural high school into champions.
What I admire about Coach Roth and his program and his assistant coaches is this: they make it look easy. And I'm telling you, it isn't easy. They win and defeat some really good, outstanding football programs and make it look easy.
It's been a lot of fun, really. They've gone out and taken care of business every week, and whether we were playing a team like in the opener when we went to South Carolina, playing against an unknown but a 2-time defending state champion from South Carolina, and being on the road and making that kind of trip. They went out and played at a really high level and had a big win there.
He's not a huge compliment guy. So you're always striving to get a compliment out of him, and when you do, you did a good job. So he's always kind of making us hungry.
Coach Roth has a real dry sense of humor, so he'll be messing around sometimes and nobody knows whether to laugh or not. So it's kind of hard to read him at first. But once you get to know him, he talks, he's funny, he's a character.
Even outside of football, the lessons he teaches you, they're lessons that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life.
Honestly, he's the best coach. He gets everything out of us, and we just want to come to practice every day and learn from him.
To play for a coach like him, he's obviously one of the best coaches in Pennsylvania history, not alone probably in the country. Playing for a coach like that is just we should feel lucky to have the opportunity to play for someone like that. There's only so many people that get to do it.
Playing for Coach Roth, it really is an awesome experience. you know, there's the football coach, and then there's the man, and you know, he's disciplined, expects the best out of you. But, you know, when you graduate, you know, and you go through college and then, you know, come back to the area and stuff and spend time with them, you get to really see Coach Roth more as the person and not as the coach. And, you know, he does a good job of separating the two. And, you know, he's just a guy you just, every time you're around him, you know, you can't help but find yourself, you know, 2 hours later, still in the same conversation, and you know, you think 10 minutes went by, but a couple hours went by. And I credit much of my success to him, and you know, being a part of the Southern culture helped prepare myself for college and for the NFL, without a doubt.
Chemistry experiments don't always go according to plan, and while this one isn't finished yet, this year's team credits much of their success to their bonds with one another.
You know, they have so many guys that are going to Division I schools. You know, we've obviously never had that before, but I think what makes this satisfying is the seniors have such a great work ethic. They seem to get along. They're a very cohesive unit.
Growing up together, all the way down from midgets, you know, just we work so well together just because we have for years.
You know, we all have a very special bond with each other, and that's whether we're playing sports or out of sports. We're very close. Whether it's golfing or playing basketball or going bowling, things like that. Yeah, we're very close with that stuff.
It's been a good time. You know, we have a great time. We're all competitive with each other. We all talk smack to each other within practice and everything like that. So, honestly, it's been a good time.
I feel like when we get on, we're so close with each other. When we get onto the field, our communication is just at another level, which I feel like just puts our team at another level.
There are names that run together at Southern Columbia. Marks and Halliday, Rhode Armel and Knoble are all multi-generational families for the Tigers. Kids growing up across the country dream of winning championships. They dream of draining the last-second shot, hitting a walk-off home run, scoring the game-winning goal. Those dreams have a chance of coming true for this year's seniors on Friday.
We knew the tradition coming in, but we didn't realize until we got here, like how big of an impact it has on us. For all my brother's games, I came and sat in the stands and saw all their success, and I just couldn't wait to get out there.
When you get that chemistry, when you get those young kids looking up to the varsity players and hanging around them and being exposed to them, that just instills pride in the program, and you want to be one of those. So your future and you look at the future and say, I want to be a Southern Columbia varsity football player, and that's the secret there.
Our team's pretty straightforward, I'm not gonna lie, but we're a tight group because we started playing since we were in 7th grade. That's when we all came together, because when we were younger, we were in 2 teams, a couple of us, and then we came together in middle school, and that's when it started, and then we just grew up together, and it just helped us as a team.
Oh yeah, I feel like this is what every kid dreams of, is to play on a football team that has success like this, and it's everyone's dream to win a state title, and to be able to win more than one is it's unimaginable, especially as a younger kid. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of younger kids that come to our games, and they're dreaming of the same thing for when they're older, that they can do the same stuff that we're doing.
You know, growing up, you know, watching, you know, the varsity program have so much success, you know, especially when they won from 2002 all the way through 2006, which just repeated state championships. You know, I was still real little then, but even when I started playing, that's all you really heard about. And then just the success, like, even if they didn't win a state championship, just the success of winning, like, you just always wanted to do that and do nothing but win as of growing up.
Pee Wee's, junior high, everything's kind of relaxed. It's a little bit more of a joke, and then you get up here, it's a lot more business, I would say. You know, you can't mess around as much. It's a lot of focus, a lot of film and scouting, and honestly, it's just a completely different feel from coaching.
In a high school of around 400 students, 5 of the 19 senior football players have committed to playing Division I football, including 4 committed to Big Ten schools. To find an area team with more Division I recruits, one has to go back 50 years to the unbeaten 1969 Mount Carmel Red Tornado squad with 9 Division I players.
They're just such a total team, and there's never been a team in this area that had that many highly recruited athletes. I mean, there's been times when Berwick had 2 or 3, and Mount Carmel had a couple, but in Southern Columbia, just, I mean, they're so well coached. I mean, they're good when the talent is okay. When the talent's off the charts like it is this year, then you really see something special, and we're seeing it.
I call it a once-in-a-career class. And for them to finish with, winning a title, winning their last game, that would just, kind of top off really tremendous careers for a lot of the people and a lot of the players in that class, not just those guys that are going on to play in big schools, but the entire senior class, because there's a number of other good football players in that class also.
It's hard to think of a school their size to accumulate that wealth of talent coming out of one school. It's it's something special. What we're witnessing this year, in all the years that I've been around football since I can walk, I have never seen a football team like this.
I mean, when you watch film, the first reaction that you see, you think to yourself is, holy smokes. I mean, how are we going to score and how are we going to stop them? Just amazing players at all facets of the game, all positions. They really don't have a weakness anywhere on their roster. So, usually when you watch film, you can see certain areas or certain players that you can try to attack and exploit, but you really can't do that with Southern.
Obviously, a lot of people know about all the Division I players and stuff we have like that, but I think a lot of the kids that aren't necessarily getting those Division I looks, I think those kids are kind of overlooked, and there's a lot more to this team than just some of the better players, I guess you could say. The other players that are kind of, I think, getting overlooked, I mean, they play a huge role, and I think they're a lot better than people think they are. And I mean, I feel like that some of us wouldn't be as good as if we didn't have some of those players.
This is a unique group having that many. Having 5 or 6 guys in one class is just, for a school our size, is very rare. And so that's the thing that's really set this team apart, is just that group of elite players that we have in the senior class.
Leading the way is ESPN's #1 recruit in the nation, Julian Fleming, who owns nearly all of Pennsylvania's all-time receiving records.
I remember telling Julian Fleming's grandfather after watching his first game as a freshman that, there's every single school in the country is going to be after him. You could just tell that these guys, they got it, from the moment the first game, Garcia, Halliday, you could just tell right from day one that they were gonna do big things.
But when Jim Harbaugh came around, when Julian Fleming was in 9th grade, that was kind of the eye-opener, like, ooh, 9th grade? Michigan's coming to recruit a 9th grader? That's when you really got your eyes open to just how this group was perceived outside of the area. I mean, we knew they were good, but you couldn't have fathomed that.
Obviously a dream is to play in the NFL, but, it's unrealistic to an extent, but realistic to an extent. It's a very low percentage of people that make it from high school to college and then college to the NFL. So, it's definitely something that everybody looks to do, but it's something that's not always, realistic for every individual. So, honestly, if that doesn't work out, I want to coach college football, I want to coach receivers for college, and, hopefully just, stay around football for the rest of my life.
Tigers! I-E-L-L, y'all! Tigers! Let's go Tigers!
It's well known that where the Tiger football team goes, so do their fans. Whether it's home or away, a close game or a blowout, the fans show up to watch their team.
The community is great. It's one of the best high school football towns, I'm going to say, in the country. We've got how many people going down to South Carolina to just go watch us play a game. Whether we're playing like an 0-10 team or 10-0 team, the stands are going to be filled and our fans are going to be cheering us on. So they're a great group of people.
See, they relate to that football program. So the fans feel like that's their football team. And it is. It's the communities.
Our fans, everyone shows up at every game, no matter what the competition looks like. And we just love the support. Hearing the crowd is just motivation through everything. So we just play for them.
While there will always be critics of every team for any number of reasons, it's almost like water rolling off a duck's back for this team, which has dominated its division since winning its first state title 25 years ago.
We love when people doubt us. We love to just feed off of it, and just to prove them wrong.
Everyone always says about Southern doesn't try to play competition or they don't really play anybody. And, we tried to get in a game and trying to go down to South Carolina to play a good quality team. It just was, the game ended up when it went lopsided and we came out on top against a good opponent. So
Southern went out of their way to strengthen its schedule this year, including a nationally televised game on ESPN in South Carolina against Hammond, who has 10 state titles in 15 seasons and was riding a 25-game win streak headed into that game. The final score, Southern 36-0. The Tigers also picked up dominant wins against Montoursville and Wyoming area, two teams that met in this year's 3A quarterfinals.
You know the teams around here, and you know what they bring to the table. But now you're going to South Carolina. You're going against a team that has Division I talents, a team that has won like 16 state titles in the state. So you don't know what it's going to be there. I think it's great that the challenge.
It was ESPN game. It was the first time we've ever been on it, so it was kind of one of those things that we were just looking at. We're like, we need to win this game. We need to be focused. We need to have everybody ready.
Seeing all the cameras and people cheering, it was awesome.
But to play on national television in high school, it was just a totally different atmosphere for us that we weren't ever expecting to experience. But I think that was a great experience, especially for some of the younger kids too that were just coming up.
It was an eye-opener, not so much for around here, because we know what Southern Columbia is, but I think for a national audience, boy, this little school can play.
They also know if their record-setting offense, with the most prolific running back and wide receiver in state history, should stumble, its championship-caliber defense can pick up the slack.
Their defense is like, in high school terms, it's equivalent to what the steel curtain of the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the 70s were, good luck trying to score on them.
We have a standard, and we know that if we play our best, there's no one should score points on us, and that's just the way it is. And when we give up a touchdown, we get frustrated really fast. Even if the JV gives up a touchdown, it's just like, oh, that doesn't look good on us. But it's whatever. But we just think of ourselves as very high, and we try to play to a really high level.
Defensive coordinator Andy Mills is the architect behind the Tigers' stingy defensive scheme.
He's one of the maybe behind-the-scenes people. He's actually in his 41st year. He's been there longer than Jim Roth has. And Andy's defenses, when the talent was average, were good. And now that the talent is great, they're just tremendous. So he does a really, really good job.
But obviously right now I think the thing that sticks out is the number of points we scored, the number of points that we've given up.
Going into the state quarterfinals, 2 points a game. And when you're playing a 4-4 and 3 of your 4 linebackers are Division I recruits, and up front you're solid, and you have arguably the best player in the country as part of your secondary in Julian Fleming. I mean, what's not to like about that defense?
We put a lot of hard work in as a staff. And the evolution, I guess, mainly it started where, we didn't win a game. I was here for the 0-27 streak. We kind of turned it around. That confidence just kept building and building and building to, what we have right now. And I think right now we have a different commitment with the kids. Whereas when I first started, they didn't have the commitment in the weight room or film study or anything like that. So, these kids basically have football year-round.
Tiger Stadium has changed significantly since this senior class were freshmen, with the addition of an artificial surface. But the stadium still lies amid cornfields and rolling hills, Pennsylvania's high school football version of a field of dreams for these Tigers. The final time seniors for the Tigers played at home, they took on rival Mount Carmel, and won their 27th district championship.
It's gonna be a sad time. I was gonna miss it. I knew it was coming eventually, so I guess it might be bittersweet to see, especially to see all the success that we've had over the past couple of years.
I tell everybody, I feel like freshman year was just passed over, and it's senior year. It's coming down to one of our last games, at this school. So a lot of memories, a lot of good ones, a couple of bad ones, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went down on that field. And honestly, it's gonna hurt a little bit. It's my last game there, but on the bigger things later in life.
This is one we'll all remember. This game.
It's going to be pretty upsetting. There's a lot of history that went in Tiger Stadium, and to not be able to play in it again, it's going to maybe bring a tear to my eye. I doubt it, but it's going to be sad for sure, especially with this group of guys not being able to play with them on the field again. It's going to be a pretty upsetting moment. So.
Something to look back on, especially as we get older. I mean, most people don't get the opportunity to play for a team like this, play for a coach like that, play in the community like this. And just to have the success that we're having.
David versus Goliath, the 1969 Miracle Mets. Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson, the 1980 men's U.S. Olympic hockey team. All were underdogs that came through. This year's Southern team has no intention of being added to this list and knows that it can't let its guard down.
Coach Roth and the coaches, they're very strict on us. Whether we're playing a 0-10 team or a 10-0 team, they play with the same mindset. We practice with the same mindset. They're really, we're kind of a goof-around football team, but when we're practicing, he wants to be very serious, and he's going to take everything very seriously. And I think that's how we play each and every week at our full capacity. So,
serious. Disciplined football. Don't go out there and flop around because you think you can get away with it tonight. Go out and play disciplined football.
Everybody knows, of the great underdog stories. We just don't want to be on the wrong side of that, as to say. So I think we all know that anybody could be taken down, but we're just trying to just keep our head right and just play everybody as hard as we can.
The Tigers are one victory away from a 10th state title. They haven't lost a game since 2016 and have put every game this season into the Mercy Rule. They've made a case as the best Valley football team of all time, but without the invention of a time-traveling team bus, there's no true way to determine if this year's Tigers are the best team ever from the Susquehanna Valley. But that won't stop people from debating it, probably for years to come.
This is the biggest one so far this year, baby. He's running this up. He's standing there, go home. He's up to the there. We look the fuck off. Everybody focus the fuck up and let's go. Now get that
one. We've had some great teams down through the years, but this team here is just fully packed with talent.
This year's team's amazing. I don't know. It's the best I've ever seen. All around, offense, defense, and everything like that. It's just like there's no weak spots or anything like that. So
we were 44-2, I think, the 4 years that I played there. And we had a bunch of Division I players, but that's a whole nother era. This Southern team, and I'm thinking back of Berwick's great team, our great teams. I don't know. This one might be the best I've ever seen. I don't know if I can remember any time where you've had 5 Division I players on one team. So I would place them in the pantheon of the great teams to ever come out of Pennsylvania.
I hope that this is just a team that no one ever forgets. I hope that it'll be marked down as one of the best teams that have ever come through here. I feel like that should be everyone's goal as they're coming through in high school, to have a team that's remembered forever.
Part of me looks at their stats, which are just out of this world, and you look at their talent and you look at their execution, and I want to say yes, but I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. There was a 1983 Berwick team led by Bo Orlando that shut out almost everybody and went undefeated and was named the USA Today's top team in the country. That team was special. One of my favorites was the 1992 Berwick team under Ron Powlis that went undefeated and only had one competitive game the whole season. So it's hard for me to say. Certainly, they're in the conversation. They have to be in the conversation. When you go back, Southern Columbia, I guess it was 2006, the Henry Hainovsky and Josh Marks and that group. That was a fantastic team.
I think obviously they're going to go down as one of the best teams ever. You're always going to have the argument from the 94 team, the 2004 team, and the 2006 team. Those were all undefeated years, but it definitely is going to go down as one of the greatest teams, not just in Southern history, in the state history. There might not be another group that special and that talented to ever come through the program again.
Well, I hope they say we're the best from this area to ever come. But it's something. We're in the talks with the Berwicks, the old Berwicks, and some of the older Mount Carmel teams and things like that. But hopefully we'll just remember how dominant our team was from the past couple of years. Hopefully they just remember everything that we've done.
I think we've never had a year like this, but if you don't win your last game, as Jim constantly tells the kids, then the season to me is going to be meaningless.